All right, welcome to chair yoga. Let's make sure we have a few props, something to hold on to, like a strap or even a stick. Anything that you can grab behind the back will be good. And blocks, I like blocks. And come to the edge of the chair so you feel nice and stable, but you're not leaning back against the chair. You're using the strength of the core of the body to hold you upright. Scan through the body, particularly neck, shoulders, low back, hips. And just notice if there's anything that's sticky or sore. Fidget a little bit, maybe shrug, move, twist, and just feel, is there anything grabbing, clutching, clinging? Even the ankles and feet, wrists and hands, elbows. Just a little exploration time at the beginning of class. And then come into stillness, palms face up, resting on the lap. And when you do that, you'll notice the elbows tuck in towards the ribs cage, and that's opening the chest, making it easier to breathe. Draw your breath in gently and slowly. Almost like you're trying to smell a very subtle fragrance. And that will deepen the breath without straining, without jarring the lungs. And in today's class, we'll work on lubricating the joints, moving the body, waking up the body, getting some energy in the body, and relaxing the body with some stretching as well. Inhale, float the arms above the head. Exhale, float the hands down. So as you lift the arms, palms will face the sky. And as you drop the arms, palms will face the earth. So you rotate the wrist as you do that. Move with the rhythm of the breath. Inhale as you lift up. Exhale as you drop down. Start to nod the head as you do this. As you inhale, lift up, look up. And as you float the hands down, exhale, drop the head down and round the back a bit. Now we're going to change that motion. The next time you lift up, look up, reach up, pause and bring the hands behind and grab the back of the chair. Arch the back and look up, squeeze the shoulder blades. And then imagine there's a big tree trunk in front of you. Release the hands and round the arms, drop the head. And we're simply going to move in that horizontal direction. Inhale, sweep back, grab the back of the chair, arch and look up. Exhale, hug the tree. Drop the head round the back. So a little different movement in the spine. A little different movement in the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Good. next time you come to neutral, pause and lift the hands up. And we're going to bring both hands to that right side, turning. Inhale, neutral, and then turn to the left side. So twisting the spine and the neck. And once again, moving the shoulders in a slightly different way. And the next time you come to neutral, pause. Hands above the head. And I believe this one is called the Holy Thread. So we're going to bring that right hand down onto the left knee. And we're going to thread the other hand underneath and drop your left shoulder towards that right knee, or left knee. Get a nice big thread here. Feel that in the back of the shoulder blade. Inhale, slowly come up. Reach up. Exhale, bring the left hand to the right knee and thread that right arm underneath, dropping the right shoulder towards the right knee. And then we'll try 2 or 3 more of those in your own time. You can hold the thread as long as you like. Particularly if you have a tight shoulder blade. And come into your last thread. Inhaling and reaching up. Exhaling, drop and grab the knees and start to turn the torso, stirring into the hips, starting to wake up the hips. Big, slow stir. And do 4 or 5 revolutions in one direction, and then change direction. Come to stillness. And then we'll do hip openers here. Bringing one hip open to the left. Approximately a 90-degree angle. If your hip is open, if it doesn't go all that way, you can bring it halfway. So you just find what's your range of motion in the hip. Come back to neutral on the other side. Now you can add resistance here. You can push against the direction of the hip opening and closing with the hand. It's going to work those muscles. Also, it initiates a little bit of tension through the arm into the chest and the back and the core. So it's actually quite a nice, simple movement. It engages a lot of muscular action through the body, resisting its own movements. Let's add a movement here. As you come to center, just straighten one leg, drop it, and then the other, and then come back to your opening. So you're getting the knee joint involved in this as well. And the back of the legs get a little bit of a chance to stretch out. One of the big issues with sitting in the same position all the time is the calf and the hamstring tighten up. And this is going to create a lot of tension in the low back. So straightening the legs frequently while you sit is a great way to break up the sitting tyranny. Now the next time you come to center, pause, and we're simply going to grab the right hamstring and hold the stretch. Hold the stretch and then work the ankle joint in a circular motion. Orbit the other direction. And then pause, hold, release the hamstring, and just find a nice core strengthener here. You're strengthening the hip flexor, drive out through the heel, and breathe. Should get a little burn in the hip flexor at some point. And then slowly bring it down. Woo! Lift the other leg, hamstring hold. Toes curled back, get that nice stretch and work the foot. Revolve the other direction if you haven't already. Now, even though you're supporting a hamstring, that hip flexor is probably starting to get a little bit of heat. So let's see if we can give it some more heat and hold. Breathing smoothly. And release. Whoo, that was a good one. Let's do some torso circles just to release that. That was a good one. Other direction. All right, let's come into a deeper hip stretch here. And I want you to shuffle over to the well, let's rotate. Let's do a full rotation here. So rotating both feet to the left. You can lean against the chair, and I'm going to ask you to see if you can grab your ankle here. Now, if you can't reach the ankle, use a strap like this. You bring the strap around the ankle, and you can hold the ankle with the strap. Now, holding the back of the chair, you're going to bring that knee back and arch the back. So you get a nice quadricep stretch here. It's one of those muscles that's not so easy to stretch on a chair. You have to really think about how to do that. Good. Now, because that right leg is off the chair, I'm going to get you to drop it down behind you now. And come into a position where you can edge towards the edge of the chair, still holding the back of the chair. And we're going to do some strength work here by just coming up off the chair. So you take the weight off the chair, 90%, 98%, and then come back to the chair. So you're doing a little lowering and lifting. lowering and lifting. So really, not only does this really open up the back hip flexor, it's a big, strong strengthener in the glutes and the hamstring. Whew. Now the next time you come down to your chair, lift both hands or one hand up into warrior one. Now drop the hands carefully to the chair and start to turn slowly on the chair until you can drop the heel of the back foot. So you're opened up now into a warrior two shape. Float the hands out, warrior two. And now I'll get you to hug yourself with the right elbow on top, left elbow on bottom. That's good. And for those who can try, you can bring the hands together into eagle arms. And then come back through warrior two. Now this time, and you might like to use a strap here. If you do have a strap, I've got a strap handy just below me, so I'm going to grab that. Bring the right hand behind the back like you're trying to scratch the middle of the back. And then adjust the right elbow by pulling the right elbow more towards the center of the skull. Now if you've got a strap, holding it in the right hand, it's going to dangle behind your back, and then the left hand can come behind, and you can join hands literally, or through the strap, or through clothing if you're holding the back of your t-shirt. So we come into cow face pose, warrior two. So it's a big move, a lot of moving parts here. Not that they're moving, but they're isometrically engaged. Now exhale, slowly release. Slowly release. Let the shoulders relax and unwind. I'm going to come back to neutral chair, facing the front. I've got my stethoscope on around my neck. And I want you to pause for a moment here. I want you to really feel what's going on in the hips. That was a big hip opening. I want you to notice which parts of the body are echoing sensations, the residue of holding that shape for a long time. So let's face to the right now. I'm going to grab the right ankle and bring back the quad. Hold the chair for stability. Remember, you can use a strap around the ankle. And then any time you feel you can bring that dangling knee back, you can, and that's going to increase the stretch in the quad. Now you can release that back foot, so you come into a classic warrior one here, with the heel pushing back. And this is where we're going to do our lift and lower. So you push into the front foot and lift 90, even 100% of the weight off the chair, but you still feel the contact with the chair, and then you come back down. So it's a small contraction, a small movement with a big result. It's going to send a lot of blood flow into the legs. And the next time you come down to the chair, or if you want to stay up off the chair, you can come into Warrior One. Now, as you come back to the chair, you're going to slowly turn the torso. Still supported by the chair, but the back foot is going to come down into that nice grounded position, Warrior Two. And then in Warrior Two, hug yourself, this time with the left elbow underneath. And then bring the hands together. And then float back into Warrior Two. And then scratch the back with that left hand, and right hand's going to bring the elbow back even further, so you really open up that left rib cage. And then you can go fishing with your strap behind the back. And hopefully you've got just the right amount of grip here where you could maintain this pose for another 5 breaths. Not overdoing it. And then slowly release. Remember, in the release, it's a nice, slow, gradual movement as you bring your hips back to neutral. And come back to your standard seated chair position. All right, that's a lot of stretching in a whole bunch of places there. So pause for 3 to 5 breaths here, and grow your skill in listening to the body. I want you to notice where you feel sensations. You might have gone out of your comfort zone in that last series. Notice where there's any residue, where it feels like, wow, I've really had a stretch there, or something's burning, or what's left over. More blood flow? Is there more aliveness in the body? Do you feel more awake or asleep? Is there a letting go of a certain tension? Alright, coming into the hips in a slightly different way, extend both legs. We'll move into the low back, just sliding your hands down towards the feet. And then coming back up. And just working that dynamic movement. Toes are curled back. So you want to feel this stretch all the way through the back of the legs into the low back. Resist the temptation to round the back. So your chin stays away from the chest. And just notice over a number of repetitions if that stretch starts to extend a little more. Now, the next time you come up, cross the right ankle over the left and continue that forward stretch with this asymmetrical leg pattern. Change the cross and continue that forward fold. That's the way. Change the cross once again. And I want you to practice just bringing that right leg up as high as you can. And then lowering it down. Up as high as you can. And then lowering it down. One more. And if you can't bring it up that high, grab a strap around the ankle so you can kind of pull the strap up towards the hips. But you want to keep the hips pain-free. Change the cross. Slide up. So it's like you're coming into somewhat of a pigeon pose and down. 3 more times. So you're feeling a different stretch through the legs as you do this. Now the next time you drop that left foot, we're going to change the cross again. Bring up the right leg. Now this time bend the right knee so you've come into your figure 4. And in figure 4 we're going to do just a little lean forward and back. Dynamic stretches up and down. That's it. Remember, you can stay in that forward fold if it feels delicious. Just extending the stretch more into a yin stretch, adding time to the stretched piriformis, low back. And the next time you come up, extend the legs and change the cross. Slide up, bend, figure 4 the other side. And you can start your forward folds again. Good. Come on up, release, open the hips, sumo squat. Now with sumo squat, straight arms, hands pressing down onto the thighs, towards the knee, and you're going to drop the left shoulder towards the right knee, and as you do that, push that left leg away and the right elbow bends. Inhale, come up. Now this time the right arm stays straight, pushing away the right leg, bending left elbow, head comes down towards that left knee. Let's do two more. Two more on each side. And as you come to completion, come up, and you're going to position your legs in a slightly different way. It's still sumo squat, but they might be a little closer because we're going to take the weight into sumo squat. So by bringing the hands to the chair, now lean forward, and as you lean forward, you're going to feel the legs engage, especially the hamstrings. They're going to get nice and tight. And then you're going to try and lift your buttocks up. And as you do, bring the shoulders back. So you're in a deep sumo squat. Come back carefully on the chair, relax. Do a couple of shoulder dips as you relax. Whew. And we're going to try that sumo squat again. So start by leaning forward so you start to feel the weight come into the legs. And then you hold onto the chair or the arms, hands on the thighs, and you come into your deep squat. Now remember, when you come back to the chair, you push your buttocks back so you find the chair. Couple of shoulder dips, shoulder dip 1 and 2. And then grab a block, place the block between the feet. You can open the stance more now because we're going to keep the weight on the chair, but we're going to bring the hands to the block so we have the weight also pressing into the blocks, and elbows out allows the torso to come down and dangle, and then straighten the arms. So it's like you did a push-up on the block. If you prefer to do it straight on the mat, you can. So you're bending the elbows, allowing the weight of the torso to come down. And then you straighten the arms, which lifts the torso up. So deep hip stretch, followed by a release, but strengthening in the upper body. How deep you go down is up to you. And you might feel traction in the low back as well as you do this. And then slowly come all the way up. And I want you to create a comfortable position in your chair. And the different ways we can do that. If you have I would say average to short legs, take a couple of blocks to bring your feet up. And super luxurious is if you've got a bolster or a cushion, you can bring it around the back of the chair and you can lean into your bolster. So you bring the feet onto the blocks, lean into your bolster, and you might find this is a very relaxing seat. So we've worked pretty hard today. We've done a lot of work, but this is a change. Now, if you have long legs, the blocks are redundant. You don't want the knees up here somewhere. That's just going to make you more uncomfortable. Relax the hands into your lap, palm up. So the shoulders are back and relaxed, but your elbows are in and you've got a nice open chest. Without clamping the jaw, just breathe in and out of the nose. Slowly. And we're going to add a little bit of drag factor to the breath. And the way we do this is to push the tip of the tongue into the back of the upper teeth, where the teeth meet the gum. So the tip of your tongue is pushing into the roof of the mouth where it meets the upper teeth. And what that effectively does is restricts the volume of the embouchure. And you might start to hear the sound of your breathing. This is called the ocean sounding breath, the victory breath. So be careful not to overly tense the jaw. Restricting the volume starts to drag the air. So when you breathe in, you have to breathe in with a little more effort. And you start to hear this rasping sound. Some people call it the Darth Vader breath. And I want you to experiment with the volume. I want you to let the volume get louder. Both on the inhale and the exhale. And then quieter. Now sometimes when the volume's too loud, it becomes distracting. It feels like you're making too much effort. It may even be uncomfortable. And if the volume goes to 0, you tend to lose the effect of dragging the breath through the airways. And I want you to think of it like finely tuning a radio, where you have that dial and you're trying to find the station of clarity with the least amount of static. So your volume is you turning the dial until you feel you become absorbed in your focus on the breath. And the static of thoughts and feelings move to the background and fade and maybe even disappear for a while. So keep adjusting the dial, the volume. Until you feel as much of your attention is on the breathing as possible. The sound, the volume, the length of the inhale, the feelings inside the nose and the roof of the mouth. It's like these few breaths that you take today, out of the 20, 30,000 breaths you will take, suddenly become conscious. You suddenly notice them. You hear them. Three more breaths. And when you release the third breath, relax the whole body. Relax the jaw and the tongue. Let the breathing become quiet. Soft. Natural. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, bring the hands together at the chest. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.